cloud cover extending, especially eastward from that low pressure center, where we're expecting that shower and thunderstorm activity later on today. For this morning, you can see that downward trend in the precipitation. So when you were driving out here this morning, you probably saw and encountered a fair amount of light rain across the area. Here at Balloon Fiesta Park itself, we did pick up 4/10 of an inch of rain overnight. That was as of about 4 o'clock. We've probably added a couple hundred since then. So we're probably pushing right around just under a half an inch of rain here at Balloon Fiesta Park itself. But the downward trend is expected to continue through the morning hours, and we'll probably actually see a break in the rain activity, say by 8, 9 o'clock across the area, and really not see much developing till after, let's say, 2 o'clock. And then once we see 2 o'clock again, looking at the possibility of renewed thunderstorms across the area, lightning and gusty winds being the main threats with those storms. So the good news is that the winds are really light. And so it looks very favorable as long as we can get rid of these showers across the area. With that said, some of the ceilings earlier this morning, Double Eagle reported as low as 600 feet about 3 o'clock this morning. But since then, there's been a steady improvement. You can even start to see some clearing off to the north up there. So given that that's the case, we're fairly optimistic that things are going to work out for us this morning and we're going to be able to fly. Winds in the near surface layer are probably going to be relatively light and somewhat variable. But once you get above 2,500 to 3,000 feet, that's going to be the top part of your box. So we're going to have a quasi box is what we'll call it this morning. So light and variable winds in the near surface layer, and then some sort of southerly or southwesterly aloft. We did run a couple pieballs and also drone weather this morning. So let's see here. Here's what the drone weather looked like, and we can only run this through 400 feet. But what we were seeing is everything was under 5 miles per hour in the lowest 400 feet, and you can see that the favored direction in that at that particular time, which was about an hour ago, was out of the north. So in that near surface layer, really light winds out of the north. And if you look at the pieball information, if it will go to the next, there we go. So you can see that in general, the pieball information shows you that we were running that northwesterly wind. Again, if you look at those speeds, very, very light out of the northwest. And then it starts to switch around once you get about to 2,500 feet to 3,000 feet out of the south and southwest, maybe picking up in speed a little bit once you get above, say, 5,000 feet AGL, but still, there's definite, you have to climb to find much speed at all this morning. So the expectation is that the winds in the near surface layer are going to be light, and then once you get aloft, you'll get a little bit more speed, but overall, it should be a light wind day, and not expecting a lot of weather issues outside of those showers. With that, let me make sure I've covered everything. Yep. Okay. So our weather helper this morning is Ashlyn Wells, and she has our weather balloon. Do we have a launch director in the area to give her permission to launch? That's our first launch since the rain kind of dampened things for the Dawn Patrol.
So they just let a big pieball go, one of those helium-filled balloons, weather balloons that they set up, and they'll let the pilots see what Brad was talking about there as far as the winds in the lower few hundred feet going slowly to the south. That would be a typical drainage wind. But then, as he said, AGL, that's above ground level. As they get up higher, it will go back out towards the north and the northwest.
Right, yeah, which is a fairly good direction.
That's a great direction for us. So the only concern is the showers that are here, and as he said, along around 8 or 8:30, that they should really break up. And so we'll have to wait and see exactly what the call is out there on what we're going to be doing this morning. But actually, that's encouraging.
It is. Certainly probably more encouraging than many of us expected.
Yes.
When we arrived early this morning. And again, it may be a case like yesterday where we simply have to wait on the sun to rise give us a clearer view of what kind of weather is around us, and if indeed those showers are breaking up and dissipating. And then it could be a long morning of flying, because today is a competition day.
It is.
Where we typically would have about half the pilots launching off the field and flying away. And then at some point in the morning, we flag off the scoring area and open the field for our competitive pilots to then launch. They will have left the field and gone out to find a launch site based on wind direction and information we've provided them. And then they will launch and fly into the field.
Yep, they need to be at least a mile away when they pick that launch site. And totally up to them. They heard all the winds. They will probably send up their own pie balls when they get out there.
They will, sure.
And, you know, many of them will say, nope, I don't like this. I want to move that way about a quarter of a mile.
And
or I want to move this way.
They'll go that way, and there's nowhere to launch about a quarter of a mile away, so then they'll go back. I've always said, from years when I was flying, when you do fly-ins, it's kind of fun sometimes to just find the right street corner to stand on and count how many times the balloons go back and forth, trying to, nope, need to be a little bit more over this way. No, let's go back that way. No, this is too far. Let's go back over here. And they back and forth until they finally, and eventually you just give up and say, oh, the heck with it. Let's just pick this field and go.
Right. And by then things have all changed from all your
all
weather predictions.
Anyway,
all that
nobody knows. And
you kind of, I think, and I'm certainly not a serious competitor by any stretch of the imagination, but it's kind of like, if I can get in that general area, let's go there, let's find a spot, make sure things haven't changed drastically, and then put up the balloon and let's go.
Yeah, get in the air and then let me
fly
adapt in the air and fly it to where I need to be.
Yeah.
And we heard Pat Cannon yesterday say that very thing. That's why he likes to be up early in competition and be really in the first third of the pack, because you want to be early so that your wind information is still as accurate as it can be. Things haven't changed a great deal, but you do have some other balloons flying around you that you can go to school on, so that if suddenly you realize, oh, I'm a little too far to the right, I need some left, you can look around and find someone at an altitude that's got a bit of left, and you can either go up or down to their altitude and make that course correction. Whereas if you wait, if you take forever going back and forth, trying to find the perfect launch site, by the time you do, everything's changed, and that launch site isn't any better than the one you could have had, a half hour ago.
Exactly. Yeah, sometimes we'll even do that, not even competition. It's kind of like, well, if we launch from here, the direction we're going to go doesn't give us as many landing site choices.
Yeah.
So let's go over here, and then you get there and you say, well, maybe this isn't so good. I start calling that chasing launch sites.
Oh,
and sometimes you end up spending, by the time you now drive to another spot, here's 15 or 20 minutes, you get out, you look around for another 15 or 20, 10 minutes, and then you move again. Pretty soon, you've spent an hour looking for a launch site.
Right, when you could have been in the air flying.
Right, and since we only get the opportunity to fly for a couple of hours after sunrise, so that we're down before thermals hit, you've now wasted half the morning chasing the launch site.
Yeah, I've not heard that before. I like that though.
So yeah, it's kind of like, if my own personal rule is, I'll move once to find a different launch site. If that's not good, I either need to put it up or not fly at all.
Yeah,
I'm not going to continue to chase around and around.
Well, and at home we typically, we have a variety of launch sites that we use on a routine basis, and it kind of depends on. We'll take a look at wind direction, and that will kind of depend. I live on a private airport, a little grass strip airport, and a lot of times we launch from right there, which was great when I was actively flying, because I could literally just drive out into essentially my backyard and inflate the balloon and fly away. But we have 3 or 4 other launch sites around the city of Shreveport that, based on wind direction, we know we can go there and we'll have a good opportunity for LZs, landing zones, out in front of us. So it doesn't take a lot of moving, but when you're flying in an area you're not particularly familiar with, sometimes, or if you're in competition chasing a target, then you can spend half the flight time, as you say, chasing the launch site.
Well, and we are really spoiled with the amount of open space that we have out on the west and the northwest side of town here, that you can just say, we're going to launch from this field, and it doesn't really matter much which direction the wind is blowing, because there'll be landing sites in all of those. And that is definitely not the case around the country.
No.
You really do need to say, okay, the wind is going here, therefore I need to launch from here, because that gives me this launch site downwind.
Yeah.
And if I were to launch from somewhere else, I don't have those landing sites.
Right. Again, back home in Shreveport, Louisiana, we don't have that option like you have.
Right.
So we have identified a number of launch sites, be it schoolyards or our little airport, the LSU campus, some other places where we know that with the wind, if the wind is out of this direction, that's a good site to launch from because it then takes us into an area where we will have ample landing opportunities. But it isn't like we could just walk out and say, oh, let's just go fly.
Let's go from here.
Yeah, let's go from here. And we know that, we go from here and suddenly you're in downtown Shreveport going, oh my goodness.
Now what do I do?
Help, Mr. Wizard. I don't want to be a balloon pilot today. So yeah, it does take some pre-planning sometimes.
If you are just getting here on the field or just joining us online, it is Tuesday morning, a competition day, Coca-Cola Day here at the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. We just listened to the weather report at Pilot's Briefing, where they were told that there continues to be some showers in the area, although the winds are light and would make for a very nice flight. We're just kind of waiting to see what the official decision is on flights and competition this morning. We should be getting that word here shortly. Of course, it's still dark, so we are still, even if we were to be launching, we're still a good 25 minutes away from the first really launch opportunity. We do see a couple of balloons on the field this morning. A couple of our Dawn Patrol pilots, Michael Scott and Michael Heffron, have both stood up their balloons and have kind of given us a little glowy show out there this morning.
A mini glow.
Yeah, so people can kind of see what's going on, lights up the field.
I was just scrolling through some of the comments on our Facebook feed, and there are several people who are obviously in the area, some still in bed in their hotels, and they're watching us trying to decide, are they going to fly? Do I need to get up and go, this morning, or this is my last day here? Should I go to the field? And yeah, we're waiting on the official word, but certainly from what Brad Tiemeyer, our weather guru, said, it does certainly sound positive and hopeful that as long as the showers around dissipate as he expects them to, then I would think there's a good shot that we'll go flying this morning.
I saw one of the very early pieball readings. As you said, our weather guys get started around 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I saw one of those earlier readings. And as high as they could track the pieball, the speeds were under 10 miles per hour.
Yeah, I think I saw that same update. We usually get the first update. I think it's around 4:30.
Yeah.
Because I'm usually up getting dressed and about to head to the field, and I saw that update. It was an interesting track because on one of the tracks it was almost a circular.
All the way
track,
around,
all the way
whichever you
around.
wanted to do.
You could go any direction you wanted. But I did the same thing. I wasn't looking at direction so much as I was looking to see, okay, what are the speeds?
Speeds, right.
And the speeds were about 5 miles an hour and not much more, just as high as you wanted to go.
And a number of different directions, so there could be lots of different strategies if we are able to pull competition off this morning.
I mean, that's, because that is one of the difficulties with competition here is if the wind if there is a prevailing direction on the surface, sometimes it's difficult to find a suitable launch site where you can plan on that. You kind of have to look at the upper winds and say, okay, I'm going to go out to the west, and then I'm going to go up to 4,000 feet and get that wind that'll bring me over the field. Then I'm going to dive bomb down into the field and then get into that surface flow.
Right.
So it makes it a bit challenging sometimes.
Definitely some flight planning. While a lot of balloons and people think about, oh, you just get up there and float around and go from there.
Yeah. When
you want to get to a specific spot, like you said, a competition target as well, then you got to start planning that flight.
Right.
I'm going to fly so long at this altitude because that's going to put me here. Then I'll go to this altitude and it's going to get me here. All of those types of things.
And
some people, I think, spend way too much time on that too, because by the time they get up there, it's all changed.
It's all changed. As you were saying, sometimes the best thing to do is just get the balloon in the air and then
get close.
Do some of that pilot blank. I mean, just become a balloon pilot and fly the dadgum thing and get to where you need to go. And that's kind of where you sometimes draw the line between folks that are really pilots and those that just, I always said when I was learning to fly, I knew just enough to launch the balloon and, go along for the ride, and then when it came time, try to find a place to land. I had no clue about steering the balloon or flying it to where I wanted to go.
Right.
It was just, you know, I launched it, and then I was just a passenger, and I just rode along and had a great time. And then when fuel got to a certain level, you know, I thought, okay, now I need to look around. Where can I go land?
Yeah.
There was no flight planning or pre-thought given to it. And then the more, as you begin to accumulate hours, you begin to learn to say, hey, I can actually drive this balloon and take it from this point to that point if I do a little bit of planning and do a little bit of piloting en route.
We're getting some shots of some great ballooning souvenirs that are out there.
I was going to say, I have 2 of those at home. Those are solar-powered
those are
balloons,
really cool.
and they're really cool. I have them hanging out on my deck. I picked them up from Phil Whittington and his balloon gift company. We have several, and Phil, I apologize. I think it's Montgolfier Gifts is the name. He's here on field, and I apologize, Phil, because I sometimes forget the company name. But I got mine from him. I think most of the balloon companies, the folks that sell ballooning wares, have those now.
We have them in our gift shop, Balloon Fiesta.
Okay,
Yep.
Phil was at the BFA convention back in April up in Topeka, Kansas, and he had them there, and I saw them. And so I got a couple of them and have them hanging on my deck. But yeah, they have a little solar panel in the top, and at night it ignites the burner, and you have a little balloon glow out on your balcony or patio or wherever it might be that you have it hung.
And I think what was really cool about that, you know, a lot of those solar lights, the light just comes on.
Right.
But in these balloons, it
It
kind of
actually
flickers
flickers.
and goes back and forth, so it really does look like a balloon burner going on.
Absolutely.
There's a great shot of the Albuquerque Balloon Museum, the Albuquerque Anderson Abruzzo International Balloon Museum.
You also see in that shot one of those red and white pylons, and those are going to become critical today if in fact we do fly.
Yep.
Because you'll find those, one in each corner of Balloon Fiesta Park. They are 75 feet tall, and they are 75 feet tall for a reason. The reason is that is a visual marker for our pilots. By regulation, when the competitors fly into this field, they have to be at minimum of 75 feet over the crowd until they reach the flagged off scoring zone.
Right.
Then they can drop right down to the deck if they want to get close to the target. But coming over the crowd line, they have to be at a minimum of 75 feet. So those pylons are strategically placed at each corner of the field. So as you're flying in, you can look, and if you're flying in the air and you look across in your basket, and your basket is down below the top of one of those pylons, you know you're going to get called to the timer because you're too low.
Yes.
And so that's a visual reference for pilots flying into the field to know what minimum altitude they need to be at. They have to be at least as high as the top of those pylons until they're in the scoring area, where they can then drop down to the deck. And that's for the safety of all the persons on the ground down below.
And then when they get in that scoring area, the idea is to drop one of these markers on whatever the target is. Maybe the bow of the boat, if we do the Sid Cutter Memorial, maybe the center of an X.
Yep, could be.
So awaited, you can see this is kind of little flag, little weighting here at the other end. This is basically what they will throw. It does need to be unfurled like this. They can't throw it rolled up. There'll be a penalty for that.
Can't have a rubber band around
it. Nope.
Yeah.
And you'll see them kind of do this, you know, crank it up this way, and you'll see people give it a toss.
Yep.
We'll probably see people if they need to get a little more distance. Are you going to try?
I was going to say, I was just going to demonstrate. What you'll see is what we call the windmill, where the rule of thumb is you take the length of the baggie or the marker, and you take a third in this hand and kind of a third back here, and then you start this, pardon me, this windmill action. And what happens with me most of the time is you've got to know when, you got to time when to let go so that it goes, and I would let go and it would go up and straight up into the balloon.
Yeah.
Or what you will see, I promise you will see this. It will get wrapped up in the cable of the balloon, and then the pilot's going, oh no, I've got to get this out, and he's flying past the target. Then finally it's just, oh heck, and tosses it back over the side.
So we have video from a previous Balloon Fiesta live show.
Yeah.
Where the guy does that. He starts winding it up here and hits the vent line.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it just kind of bounces off, all right? So then he does it again, and he hits the vent line again a second time. So then he kind of he kind of adjusts the length here.
Yeah.
And he reaches a little bit differently, and he cranks it up again, and it literally goes around the crown line this time. So now he has to actually undo this.
Right.
And so I think on the 4th attempt, he actually moved the crown line out of the way, and he ends up bouncing this off the side of the basket. Literally, I put a counter up.
Yeah.
6 different times he attempted this before he finally got it. And you know, and you could see he was turning more and more in the basket as
right.
it was beginning.
Because he's flying past the target while all this is happening. Whereas
but,
if you just wad it up and throw it like a baseball, you know, he would have scored.
Some people, I've seen pilots literally go stand on a balcony somewhere and practice this wind up and this windmill throw.
I know pilots who literally climb up. If they don't have a balcony, they climb up on the roof. And just stand on the roof and wind and have a bucket of, you know, like you'll go to, if you're a golfer, you go to a driving range
with a bucket of
balls.
Get
a bucket of balls and you sit and you just knock balls all day long. Well, balloon pilots, those serious competitors, they'll get a bucket of markers, or baggies as we sometimes call them. Go up on the roof or on the balcony and sit up there and just wind up and throw them. And I've seen guys, Al Muir from Texas was a guy who I swear he could launch a baggie 50 yards once he wound it up. He did that windmill thing.
He practiced enough that he got
Some guys are really good at it, and they can sling that thing, and it's like throwing a spear. It's amazing. Others, like you say, you know, it's kind of pointless.
We're now in one of the official merchandise tents, and so you're seeing some of the official 50th merchandise there. The very first shot we saw there, very popular retro tee as well. And then
that's the T-shirt that my cousin bought yesterday.
Yeah, and then there's the varsity jacket right there in the center. And the baseball
I like
shirt.
that.
Yeah, and there's that,
Oh, yeah. With teal, those teal-colored sleeves? Is that the right
and you see it's got the 72 down on the pocket there, and it's got the BF for Balloon Fiesta and the big 50 logo on the back. That is a really cool
That is a
varsity,
good-looking, that's a good-looking varsity jacket. I like that.
Yeah, so those are still available over there, obviously. And then what I did here was the retail jacket, which is a little to the left in this shot, is another one that is really, really nice. It's got a lot of different accoutrements on it. There's the back of it right there. You see, it's kind of got the same.
It's got the same logo as like the Fiesta Gold balloon.
The original 13 are around the outside of that, and then when you look on the front, you see those extra turquoise stripes, the accents on the pockets, and actually on the inside of the zipper, it looks like they have it zipped up. You wouldn't be able to see it. It actually says Balloon Fiesta on the inside of the zipper. So when you've got your jacket partly open, on the inside lip there as well. And a nice hood for it as well. It's a detachable hood. Well, we don't, some of the merchandise over there in the official merchandise tent.
We don't still have it backstage, or I might choose to pull it out. But you know, last year I worked with a lady who now is local, and you know, because we get staff jackets every year, and I've been here 33 years now, so I had a closet full of jackets. I've given some to crew and friends. Sold a few here and there occasionally. But, you know, a lot of times you find people that, you've seen people do T-shirt quilts.
Yes.
Well, I had the idea, what if I could take those jackets and create a quilt? And so, long story short, I found a lady who could do that for me and brought like a dozen of my previous Fiesta jackets here with me last year.
I remember.
Turned them over to her. Well, they delivered the quilt to me this morning.
Oh, wow.
And just blew my mind with it, and it is amazing. I've got some photos, and I'll post it later on my Facebook page, but because we've already packed it up and taken it, put it safely in my car. But a unique way to, you know, to reuse those jackets that otherwise were just kind of hanging in the closet gathering dust, and a neat way to remember some of the previous 50 years that we've enjoyed here. So I was really, I'm absolutely just thrilled with it, and yeah, I'll post some pictures of it later on Facebook.
Somebody got those tick-tocking away there, didn't they? Yeah. So some great things. So a couple more of our Dawn Patrol team folks have decided to stand up their balloons out there. On the far right, that's Greg Lindsay with Floating Oasis, and one of our Stars and Stripes balloon inflating there in the center. I'm not sure if that's Tim or Kurt. We'll have to wait to see if they stand up.
Similar patterns. It's also getting lighter out, and normally we talk about the vast difference in how bright it is on the camera view versus what we actually see ourselves. But this morning it's fairly close. It's still brighter on the camera. It's got greater light sensitivity than our human eyeballs do. But the sky is certainly lightening, and we do see clouds around in the area, but they are scattered, as you can see in that picture. And so, yeah, things continue to look promising for this morning. Did we ever go back to pilot briefing? I don't think we did we?
No, we never got back there as they were waiting on things, and I'm switching out radios here so that I can continue to.
Maybe we can check and see if Henry has yet to.
The deal is, I think the battery died on that other one, so it wasn't getting any even lights.
Good morning, y'all. My bad.
We are still planning to do the national anthem at 7
Tried to
o'clock
start
this
early,
morning.
ended up being late.
And whether we actually, it looks like a while ago they weren't even going to stand the balloon up, but it looks like the Coca-Cola balloon is actually inflating out there. So I think the plans of an hour ago have changed, and things are looking much more promising than they did an hour ago. So this side and have a certain amount of visibility, so you couldn't fly in that cloud bank.
No.
But we are far enough away from it based on those
here at Fiesta Park.
Yes,
because we have enough clearance between us and those clouds.
Exactly.
You're right. Likewise with the clouds that you can see in the picture overhead. Those may be at, let's say for the moment, 7,000 feet, just to pick a number. The balloons can fly in the clear airspace below them as long as we stay, say, at 5,000 feet to the top, make that your ceiling altitude. Exactly. Don't go beyond that. You just can't enter the clouds.
We are 3 minutes away from the national anthem. We do have our crew down there. We're going to see if we might be able to talk to the pilot before we go with that. We're going to have to sneak that in if possible.
That would be Ruth Lynn, who is our on-field reporter again this year. And Ruth and Marcia have been friends, by the way, for years. They've flown gas balloons together.
How y'all are? How are y'all? Jesus Christ. How are y'all, everybody? All right, so today we're gonna, it's kind of a Joe Chip's idea. We are gonna go ahead and practice, like, I guess, a fly-in today. Pretty much we're gonna try to get to the tip of.
Busy time for the pilot right before launch. You want to make sure all your instruments are ready, your passenger in,
Best way as possible.
They're all briefed.
Reason why we're kind of close to the winds are going to be kind of relatively
you get to the zero in the countdown,
calm
you actually
in the morning.
lift off the ground. Of course, also
the day has the flag to deal with as well,
attached as well,
draped and unveiled or unfurled as the balloon lifts off. And we time that's a bit of extra equipment to deal with.
Yeah, timing it all to the national anthem.
I don't know.
And the countdown.
The winds are
launch
actually
director's thumbs up.
Shot we see now.
Which then bodes well for competition after getting all of our non-competitor pilots and our ride pilots up.
National anthem is about to happen here. So.
You know, in the shot we see now, you can see all of.
And after that, y'all can take off.
Folks, that will be.
Which then bodes well for competition after getting all of our non-competitor pilots and our ride pilots up.
See the balloons already.
And then, of course, you know those competition pilots aren't sitting too far away waiting to see what's going to happen. Let's run down. Let's get down to Ruth and quickly. Go, Ruth.
I'm down here with Marcia Lambertson, balloon of the day. Today she's going to be flying the American flag for Coke. Marcia, you ready?
I'm ready. We are ready to get off the field today. Flying for Coca-Cola, one of the best sponsors for Balloon Fiesta. Y'all come out and see us.
Now, you've been doing this a long time. Is this your first time as balloon of the day?
No, it's not. It's my third time.
Awesome. Well, have a great flight, Marcie. Love you. Bye.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, The Coca-Cola balloon taking our flag airborne with our national anthem by the New Mexicors.
Yeah, so DSCR loans. So this is an interesting loan type where it's called debt service coverage ratio, and what they look at is not your personal income or taxes, tax returns, etc. It's the rental income of the given property. So they base the mortgage off of that. So I didn't know a lot about it before I found Beeline. I had seen them and kind of read a little bit about it, and I was looking for lenders that focused on that, or at least provided loans under the DSCR rules. Beeline came up and offered that structure, so that's when I reached out to them.
The New Mexicors and the Coca-Cola balloon as it is Coca-Cola Day here at the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. And we are underway for Tuesday morning. Now that Marcia has the Coca-Cola balloon and the flag in the air, our Rainbow Riders, our ride concessionaire, and their balloons are now cold inflating. And they will be taking literally hundreds of people on a bucket ride this morning. We've had 4 of our Dawn Patrol balloons standing up, giving us just a little show this morning as well. And so the first of those is now airborne. The nice desert scene, giving the turning bench show. That is Floating Oasis. Greg Lindsay from Safford, Arizona, putting his Floating Oasis balloon in the sky. Using one of those turning vents. The vent on the side of the balloon lets the hot air out the side, and it rotates the balloon so that we can see the palm trees and the cactus and all of the other really cool designs on Floating Oasis. The other end of the field, the launch, the Dawn Patrol line there, that's Mike Heffron. Mike is from Albuquerque, and that balloon is Bright Idea. So the yellow, purple, and green spiral. Also using the turning vent to turn that balloon around as he goes into the sky. And if you take a look now, you see that Mike at the lower level and then Greg kind of mid-level, both still kind of moving a little bit to the southeast. But Marcia up in the Coca-Cola balloon has actually already turned directions and is now starting to head back west or northwest out there. So maybe not quite a straight box, but definitely different steerage levels up there. And we heard that from meteorologist Brad Tiemeyer earlier this morning. He called it a quasi box. So we'll see directions up there. but it won't necessarily be straight. But definitely steerable, which will make for some very interesting competition flights with different strategies. Do you stay low and fly in from the north? Do you fly over the target at altitude and then drop back in? And then being able to adjust, where do you drop out of this one level and come the other way? It's going to be a really fun competition day this morning, I believe, here at Balloon Fiesta Park. Again, now that we have balloons in the sky, the rest of the crews starting
together with the Academy of All Air.
Perhaps that our organizations and publication can work together and broadening that communication between ballooning and the rest of the aviation world. Thank you both for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian. Great to see you.
Thank you as well. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Mr. Greg Principato, who is the chairman and CEO, president and CEO of the down to you on the field. Take it away.
The USS Sid Cutter, and as we've talked about this morning, competition is underway. Today, one, to be able to fly in, drop your marker right on the bow of the boat. That is the best score. We're actually going to measure from this.
And the
X.
winds
You
are
see
actually a
the
little
fabric
heavier
on the
or a
ground.
little more than I thought
This
they
is
would.
the X, so they'll be measuring
Weather
from
should be lying.
that center of that X to the bow. So the best score will be somewhere on the order of 14
But it's like a
feet
south-southwest
or so.
wind.
As long as the marker is on or in the boat, grass, that's like it falling off into the water. We'll measure from the center of the X and then add 300 feet. We joke, you could figure that might have been the
If you can't make it the first time, you have till, shit, I guess it's like 9:30 before the target closes, so you can land. You have to land the balloon first, and then you can find the location and try again within an hour time frame. Yep, that's part of it, brother. Trust me. The other day, we was a whole bunch of us, and we were all going in different directions. They got a whole airplane coming in.
That's all the Sid Cutter Memorial task. That said, there are 2 X's in the southern part of the scoring area that balloons can fly to as well. Now, the target actually opened about 3 or 4 minutes ago, and we already had 3 balloons come in, and I got a lot of cheers that it looks like there may have been a marker thrown on one of the X's already. So we've already had passes by 3 balloons, and I'm seeing off to the west there's already a couple of more, and there are balloons in the sky. It's going to be an interesting day to see how they're going to get here. As we've been talking all morning, the winds have been shifting, and for 5 or so minutes at the lower piece, it's kind of going to the southeast, but then maybe it's going to the southwest, or maybe it's going south. So balloon pilots are going to have to be lined up just exactly the right way to be able to come in, and hopefully it doesn't change after you've set up a line and come in a certain way. So it's going to be an interesting day. Lots of different strategies to see how the pilots navigate. There is a lot of steerage up there, but it keeps changing. And so being able to have a plan may not be the right plan 5 minutes from now or 10 minutes from now.
So we're going to be out here as we watch to continue. I already see some balloon pilots are starting to come in. There's a couple way off on the west, not close enough to throw their markers, their baggies on the X's or at the Sid Cutter Memorial as well. It also appears that the surfaced winds here are picking up just a little bit for those of you watching out there, and so as I look up, I see that there is still lots of steerage going on. You have to go kind of high to go back north and make another pass to get here to throw your marker. Let's turn around this way. Can we go this way over this this blue and purple one over here? He's going to have a pass in. This may be Steve Mezzacello coming in, and we'll just kind of watch and see. He's got a good line for the X. As we come down that side. So once they're inside the flagging, they can get all the way down to the penalty. So we'll just continue to watch. He's gonna go right between the island and the X. We'll see which way they decide to throw. There's the throw on the island, not on the fabric, so that's going to be in the water. It'll be measured from where we're standing, the X here, and then 300 feet. There's the throw.
Yeah, I'm
on
about
the X.
4
that
speed.
Looks really good.
I finally caught my west wind about 900
two
feet.
tasks, throwing 2 markers, one in the Sid Cutter, so he'll have a score on that one, and he'll have a much better score on the X down in that corner. So one of the early ones through, being able to throw 2 markers and score 1 on each task. So here comes one of our red, white, blue balloons. We'll watch that one come in. Meanwhile, there are a couple going down the east side almost behind the row.
I got to get back down because I went too far
west. I see a few balloons kind of up high. We'll see if they drop down and make their pass on the field. Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. Didn't get competition in yesterday. We have 4 days scheduled. Yesterday didn't happen, so we've got 2 tasks today. We have mass ascensions tomorrow, so no competition, and then competition again Thursday and Friday. We won't have the bonus again unless something strange happens. We'll have different targets on Thursday and Friday, and we set up about this big to be able to attempt to ring that pole, and we have cash available if you're able to ring the pole. Points are awarded to first, second, third, all the way down as many people as score, and the overall winner, as well as the winner of the individual tasks, the overall winners will be awarded big money and some really cool prizes as trophies on Saturday at the awards brunch. We'll record that and then post it for you to be able to see after that happens on Saturday. So, and it would be really cool to say you were the champion at the 50th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. We should also point out that the top 20 in any year's competition gets to fly that number banner the very next year. So Zach, who won the overall competition last year, is flying banner number 1. And a good way to know the banner numbers help all of our officials and us as announcers help to identify those particular balloons. We do a lot by color. If we have to pull a banner number, we're able to do that as well. So here comes a red direction he's going. And we're going to watch and see what happens. He has a very decent line for the boat, putting heat in as he comes by. Marker in hand. There's the throw right in the boat.
Awesome.
Number 171 right in the boat.
And I'm back with you, Art, just so you know.
Towards the back. Great. So one of the early balloons coming by right in the boat. He just threw a marker on the land as well, but the orange marker that is in the boat, great throw. It's not unfurled. I don't know if that'll be an issue. And of course, the screwdriver coming down the west side of the field, heading your way. They've pulled the blade up because it would be dragging on the ground, frankly, at this point.
Well, actually, I was just going to say I could use that screwdriver up here. I just noticed that one of the arms of my chair has broken and the screw is bent, so it is a Phillips head, so I might be able to use some help from that team a little later this morning.
We'll have to get that screwdriver.
Yeah.
Good morning, Jewel.
Good morning. Good morning. He hit the ball.
Yeah, it's right in there. Hey, Glenn, I have Jewel Cutter up here with me, and she's checking out the throw in the boat right now. Yeah, so you got somebody to give a trophy to at the end of it. It's unfurled, so we'll have to see how. I mean, it's all rolled up. Yeah, so we'll have to see what the official ruling is on that.
Well, in the pilot's defense,
we'll see.
In the pilot's defense, Art, if he dropped it from such a low altitude, it wouldn't have had time to naturally unfurl. So maybe there's some leeway. Meanwhile, the screwdriver has just landed here on the south end of the field, having boxed their way back to the field from launching earlier this morning.
I lost a little bit of what you said there, Glenn, for a moment. I was talking with Jewel. She tells me that Sid, in playing this type of competition, actually lost the World Championships one time because he forgot to unfurl the marker.
Well, I would say, Art, that because the pilot dropped the marker from such low altitude, it might not have naturally had time to unfurl itself. So maybe there is some leeway there, as long as it wasn't banded by a rubber band or something like that. They might consider that okay. That's a judgment that I'm not sure about.
Yes, totally understand. We can only tell you what the rules say, and then, but yes, our scoring officials will have to make a call on that and see what happens.
I think I found my sweet spot. I got to hold it.
Demonstrator just went right over the X on the southeast side of the field. Looks like he might be attempting a landing down there in that corner.
Yeah, he is just coming in behind you, just crossed out from behind the screwdriver, which has landed, and is coming down and is going to touch down here in the southeast corner of the field. And I suspect that this area has been kept clear outside of the flagging, so the pilots, as we do typically, they allow them to land here on the field once they've crossed the scoring zone.
And Coronado Center balloon.
This is where your skills come in, pilots. My fellow balloon tribe.
But he appears to be
I found myself a straight way to the top of this monument, but I got to hold a certain altitude because the layer is so thin.
Right down in front of the Exxon Mobil, and looks like to make a nice landing here.
Like
and
I'm
that
on
always
a
raises
straight
the issue.
beat on it right now.
Sorry, go ahead, Art.
I just got to stay
I was just going to say, yeah, the Coronado Center banner is
my altitude. It's
facing
literally
today
within 100 feet of my wind
okay.
change. So like
and I was going to say, that's one of the great reasons, one of the great
precise.
things about having you down there in the scoring zone is because eventually my
like
view from up here on the rooftop becomes
flying a hot air balloon is the most challenging thing to ever
landing
fly. I don't
directly
give
in
a
front of me at the south of the field here, so we can still continue to cover the competition with you in the scoring zone where you have clear view of what's happening, and up here I usually don't.
So we have a black with the rainbow colors and the diamonds coming in down the west side of the field. And he looks like he's got a great shot for the island on that side. So we'll watch that one come through. I'm not sure who that is for sure for you.
Well, you know me in the
But
spotting chart, but I'll
right there.
I'll change the spotting after you give a hand.
So he drops very nicely on the island and then through towards the X. So he's got a good score for the Cutter Memorial, and it'll be an okay score on the X as well. And I would point out to you that if you look over the east side of the field, that's where all the racers are, that's where all the serious competitors are. So they are all trying to come in from that way, and you'll be able to see them, watch them as they work their strategy to attempt to get here.
Yeah, usually we do like a 3-mile radius, but the winds are so light. Yeah, we would have been flying forever. This afternoon, the winds are going to pick up double, so what we're flying now is going to be in more than double. So before ground speed, it'd be 8 ground speed, 8 knots, 16 knots, you know how that shit is.
I can't hear anything. And,
I can't do anything.
I don't even hear the PA out here. So you want to see if you can call back to somebody and tell them we can't even hear the PA out here, and I have no audio.
So Art, I was trying to find the. I was having a conversation with a truck. That's why you may not have been able to hear anything. I had lost power up here on my iPad, so I was trying to use
Might have to go west.
spotting app to help me identify a couple of those balloons, and my iPad had lost power, so I was trying to solve that issue behind the scenes. That's why things went quiet for a moment. My apologies. I think we've sorted that.
Okay, I thought things had kind of. Yeah, no, I think everything fine now.
Yeah,
I'm about to go
back to the truck and having a conversation about the power strip up here that didn't seem to be working.
Not very much.
Trying to get my iPad up, but we've solved all that.
As soon as I get that west, I gotta fucking pull my crown line and fucking take some air out and drop back down altitude.
So lots of maneuvering off east of the field with those racers, while this black with the paint drops coming down the top, that old typical Aerostar pattern that many balloons were made of. You'll recognize.
Yes, I recognize and remember that. It's like somebody spilled a bucket of rainbow paint on the top of the balloon.
They're going to be they're going to have a great line on the X in that corner. They're going to be pretty far wide of the Sid Cutter Memorial. And there's the throw on the X.
Yes, sir, Hunter. You gotta.
Looks good to me.
You gotta find the winds, brother.
In between the legs of the X.
They're there.
Remember, once our scoring officials get an opportunity, whether there's a break in the action or as the target closes closer to 10 o'clock in the morning, they'll go out, they'll measure from the center of the X down to the quarter of the inch or so, and tally all of those up. Results Facebook page, usually by about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then we'll hopefully have those as well. Here's this racer coming down the west side, black and white checkerboard that spreads out into
you got a lot of west over there, Hunter. I see that.
I thought for a moment that was the art.
You got a lot of west.
Sorry. One of the things that's difficult is you and I can't control, we can't really communicate that well between us. I thought for a moment that was the R&S Motorsports balloon of Steve Lombardi, but I don't believe it is.
It looks very similar. Here's that line that we've talked about up there. Nice throw. He did that correctly. Looks like it may be inside the island. And then heat in, vent, get ready to throw the other one. So just a wind-up throw. That looks really good on the X.
Well, while we don't have
great throws.
While we don't have a lot of balloons coming in, why don't you run down again? I know there are multiple tasks, 2 tasks I think I heard you say, at separate targets. Why don't you run that down for us one more time for those that are perhaps just joining us?
Yes, I can do that. So there are 2 tasks taking place out here today. There is the Sid Cutter Memorial task. And the idea here is we have this boat out here, the USS Sid Cutter. So it is the perfect place to be of score. In fact, I'm just going to get a little closer since we don't have a balloon coming in. Right here on the bow of the boat, this is the closest you can be to the center of the X, which is literally about 10 feet off to my right. So we measure from the center to the wherever you might be in or on the boat. This would be the best. Anywhere on the boat is a great score, and we have one marker already in the boat. If it were to fall off the boat into the grass, it's like falling off into the water. And so we would add whatever the distance is plus 300 feet, and that's how you will get your score. Now, as part of this task, there is a big land mass. It's identified by the white fabric that's out there. It's kind of creating a large rectangle. That is the shoreline or the big island. If you put your marker inside there, we measure from the center of the X right into there, because your marker is on land as opposed to in the water as well. So that's a good score. And then back to the other side, we talked about landing in the islands. If you get your marker on inside those, and they're like laid out. If you get inside that, that is on the island, therefore land, therefore anywhere in the grass is water. We measure it and add 300 feet. That is all just one task, the Sid Cutter Memorial. So as you come in as a pilot, you have to make a choice. Do you go for the boat, which is a pretty small target, but big reward, or do you go for the land masses, easier to hit, not quite the score? And if you miss and hit the water, the grass, then you'll get scored, but there will be an additional 300-foot penalty added to that distance. So you'll be a lot farther down in the scoring. Again, that's one task. In addition to that, a second task, there are 2 X's out here. You can pick whichever X you'd like to throw your marker at, and you throw a marker to that X, and the closest to the center of the X is the best score. So you have your choice. You can throw the markers in any order you'd like. But there are 2 different tasks going on out here today. Glenn?
So judging from that, you and our crew should have water wings on.
Yes, exactly.
Because you're standing in a 300-foot deep lake.
No, we can just walk on water.
Oh, I wasn't going there.
Yeah, that would be the way.
So, Art,
I'm just watching the...
I was going to ask from your perspective out there, where are most of the competitors coming from? Because there's not a lot of activity right now.
You know, that's a great question, Glenn. I looked to the east, and everybody was up there, and I'm not sure how or where they got up to that altitude. So I'm not real sure. I'm also looking to the east, and you know, we've been watching that fog bank, cloud bank that is very low, and it has gotten thicker and longer. And in fact, there's some clouds now over the top of the Sandias.
I see that.
So that's something we would call in the weather thing mountain obscuration. So the clouds are actually kind of thickening over on the east side of the mountains. And we're feeling, in fact, I'm feeling a few raindrops on my face right now as I look up into the sky. So we're starting to get a little more of that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was about to say the same thing, Art. I'm feeling a few raindrops on my head and in my face here on the tower as well as I was looking up into the sky. And I noticed, too, that the fog bank has gotten much longer and thicker, though, again, the northern tip of the Sandias has kind of cleared. You can almost literally look and see that cloud bank. It literally is moving from north to south along the foothills of the Sandias, and I had the Hartzels, one of the Hartzell balloons is way overhead. That's when I felt the raindrops, was looking up high. So some of the racers, some of the competitors must be coming from
so close,
over
Chip,
in the east
so close
to the south, trying to use that high track, but boy, it's really slow.
Yes, but I'm also
so
looking
close.
kind of a more of a medium height track. They're probably about 800 or 900 feet. There's a relative shape It's a zigzag pattern going up. He is almost directly overhead, and he is moving to the real east that's up there. Tall Steve coming back. He's heading more southeast. So there's still a lot
you
of
can land and fly, it don't matter.
You get up maybe 1,500 or 2,000 feet in the balloon.
I was going to fly a little bit.
Up there. So a lot of pilots trying to figure out what the heck's going on up there and how am I going to get down to the target.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a real key this morning because the winds have been changing all morning long. We are, again, feeling some light sprinkle up here, so rain showers may enter into the issue with regards to that long-range competition. And just finding a direction that you can rely on to move you toward the target. As I look up at one of the Hartzels who's directly over our head, he's actually moving slightly back to the south, ever so slowly, but very, very slightly back to the target, which is not what you would want.
Yeah, we're having a racer on the far west side, kind of a zigzag all the way up, yellow, blue, green, all of those rainbow colors, kind of making a quick descent to see if he can drop in and get here. He may have started that a little bit too late because he's still pretty high and he's actually still pretty far west. He's almost over the arroyo on the west side, the ditch that's over there.
Yeah,
I need them keys to that Range Rover.
Yeah, the flags look like they've turned
Give me them
directly
keys.
south. The path to the southeast is, again, changed at least momentarily.
Give me them keys, man. What do you think, Chips? What do you think, huh? You think I got it?
On the very north end of the field, pretty dead center, lime green with butterflies. Very high, no rules against that. One of the things that you run into, the higher you are
We got
off the
horses
ground,
on the lawn down there.
the more you have to judge the momentum of your balloon.
Yo, I'm literally, can somebody get a video of this or a picture? Because I think I'm about to be right on the mark of this son of a gun.
And brings it the rest of the way down.
Well, and if you look, Art, back at the racer, you were just talking about that red, yellow, green zigzag. I'm trying to find him in the spotting app here, and I looked up and suddenly he was zooming back up. Obviously did not like the line he had coming down, and has now gone back up to gain some altitude and make a change in his track.
And that is one of those things that we continue to talk about with the racers. Because of the shape, they can go up and down a little faster. There was a little distortion as well. And we talked about the lime green with the butterflies. Gonna fly right over the boat, but very high for a good throw. We'll see what they do. There goes the throw out the back. And, oh, right offside. Remember, that's that whole momentum thing coming through. A little line going up and throwing off towards the X. So, 2 markers from the green balloon.
Dude, that's how close I was.
And again, Art, I'm just trying to get an idea for you.
I'm just trying to give you a nice little shot.
I will note, however, that the wind is beginning to pick up. We're certainly feeling it here on the tower, on the rooftop, that we had not felt earlier, as well as still some light sprinkling. So I think we're seeing a little bit of a change in the weather.
So close, dude. I mean, technically, I mean, shit.
Yes, we're feeling that same thing down here on the field as
well. Yeah, Hunter, you kind of missed
and
it to the right a little
how
bit, but it's all right.
That green balloon with the
So
butterflies
technically, I got pretty damn close to that bitch.
And it
nice.
was interesting. We talked about that momentum as they came in, and actually they dropped the marker just a little too late. The line was great, but just a little too late. It'll still be, again,
I mean, Hunter, you can always hold on. Let me turn
close
this
to
down.
the boat. We've seen a couple on the islands
you can always, land and go launch somewhere else and try again.
And we continue to watch all those
Got
balloons to the
20,
east and southeast.
it's about 25 minutes. It took a minute to get to it though. We have about 47% fuel.
Well, having completed the task, so they are down and safe. I can also tell you there's a shift in the temperature. It's gotten noticeably but it definitely has turned a bit cooler here on the roof from what it was before. My cameraman just shook his head in agreement with me on that.
I'll echo it from down here on the field. Yeah, between the breeze and the little bit of moisture that seems to be in it is definitely cooler down here than it was an hour or so ago. And I have 9:01, which means the target is still scheduled to be open for another 59 minutes.
Chips flying in between the tires. No shit. Look at this. Get it. Some of these buildings are graphics terrible. And that's just on the ultra.
Be able to get to the field.
This dude's really going through the thing. That's what's up.
On this boat, the Sid Cutter Memorial Task.
I got a whole Northwest wind.
I was going to say John was spot on in his choice of the
find
word
out.
of the day, being patient.
Going to the Lincoln Memorial now.
I can imagine right now there are some pilots up there, and we've all seen that cartoon. That's the way a lot of those pilots up there feel right now. They're not excited about being patient. They want to get down here and get a score.
So we have about 4 or 5 balloons slightly to the northwest that seem to be lining up to be our next group coming through. I see one of the racers basically to the north dropping. There's a more regular shaped spiral who could drop and have a nice line. There's another spiral, more yellow and blue spiral directly above me.
If you look on my screen, over here at where I'm at, they got 2 little circles with some logos in them. Maybe we can do that for the extra targets.
Yeah, that racer.
We'll see what if they can fill it.
That racer directly north of the field. He's
or you want to keep it with the monument? Let's just keep it with the monument. Keep it simple.
Looks kind of white. I can see white, blacks, blues, maybe a little orange and red right at the
I'm
center.
literally going the whole opposite way now.
There. Unfortunately, my binoculars are in the car, so I can't get a very close look at it. But it looks like he's trying to make an approach and is certainly descending to get down.
If I'm remembering correctly and identifying that balloon correctly, that may be one of Johnny. That may be Johnny.
I'm flying towards the baseball stadium over here, the Washington Nationals.
And you're right, lining things up nicely and dropping fairly quickly to kind
appreciate
of
that, Hunter. Appreciate that. Nice. It's all fun
because
stuff.
He is lined up very nicely. If he gets a left or a right.
Like I said, we're trying to get some more people for the morning, man.
People up high are.
We have a couple interested in getting them to, them being able to show up and just, different story, which I get it. But normally the afternoon crew will always be a little bigger, but we can find some morning, some dawn balloonists fly with us.
Up in is a rainbow racer.
Different options for what Johnny might be flying, and we keep moving him around like we put him in Beautiful World the other day. And so I may be mistaken, but yes, it's there's kind of like black blocks, vertical black blocks going around at different staggered intervals. It's coming in a little more clearly. It's still kind of a white and maybe a light green. I've seen the picture of this balloon, and said, I thought it might have been a Petrin one, but he may not be identified in our spotter that way. You know, there's something else interesting going on.
Roger that. Man, no worries, dude.
There is some chase
we'll be on tonight. You already know. Tonight's going to be the big one. So I'm probably going to land here in a little bit and call it a day. It's really my only last chill day for the next good while.
Party balloons with helium in them, and they let them go because as they climb, we see.
So balloon hunter, what about weekends? Are you available in the morning time? I mean, the evening times on the weekends?
So ground crew, letting those off for some pilot up there, or
we might be able to do something for Sunday night. We could do a little. I don't know, we'll figure it out.
Couple hundred feet.
Man, y'all are way over there. It's crazy how that shit happens.
Their crew to the target and have them launch eyeballs in order to give them a good reading of what the wind at the target site is doing.
Yes, I understand. It is fairly unusual here in Albuquerque. So I don't remember seeing that here. Yes, it happens in other competitions all the time. So this spiral coming right in, black and white, rainbow colors, dropped from very high, and the marker is kind of.
Oh wow, 4 a.m. Yeah, I don't blame you.
It's not really close to.
I mean, like I said, if you have some other people that, I mean, you maybe fly with every now and then, or maybe post in your groups and see if you can get them to come join us in the mornings. I mean, that's fine with me. I mean, we're getting to the point where we're going to start growing, where we're gonna have enough people for morning and afternoon flights. That's a cool little build down there.
What do you measure it to? Do you measure it as part of the Sid Cutter task? What is that going to be? And so I'm going to go verify in just a moment with our scoring officials. But my guess is you were to drop an orange one here on the Sid Cutter. We've got 2 on the ground here. That one that we just saw was the third one. And in the boat, it is an orange marker.
Baseball
versus blue
stadium.
ones or darker color ones that I saw thrown out on the X's. So that's the other thing you have to keep in mind.
No, you good, brother. I just, you know.
That's true.
You
While
never
you're
know.
doing that, by the way, Art, I've identified that racer out there to the north end we're watching. That is, well, if I can get my iPad screen to come back up all of a sudden.
I appreciate you coming to hang out and fly with us, man. Like, it's pretty cool.
Actually, Hal Cooper in the balloon called Up To It, and he is from Port Hope, Ontario. Okay. The balloon is black and white, but also has blocks of light blue.
And like what's crazy is we're automatically have broken like worldwide now, because we have pilots from Brazil, we got pilots from out there, you know, the UK and Europe, and we got pilots here in America right now. So like, that's actually pretty cool. I wasn't expecting that shit at all.
You described the colors right, so you have the correct balloon. There seems to be a hint of west in that. It feels like he's coming, but almost at me. And if you take a look almost up over the pylon,
that's crazy. I'm way over here.
Bright yellow and black mustache balloon of Guilty and Zarek Wells, our defending champion.
Yep, I see him.
So
up
he's
there.
attempting and getting himself in place.
And if you look a little further to the west in that rainbow balloon, the rainbow racer below the red and blue themed balloon, that's Johnny Petrin there. Okay.
Baseball stadium. Dun, 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 dun,
He's in that rainbow colored racer that's kind of in that, he's in the center of that group of 3. Atop is a red, white, and blue stars and stripes. There's a blue with a black and white spiral in it. And Johnny's in that rainbow racer right in the center of those 3 balloons.
Thanks. We've got him spotted. We'll keep an eye on what happens out there. Going up high and to the east as folks continue. And I look up.
Chips is down. I don't see him no more.
So back to a whole lot of patience going up there. When you come down, you better hope you're in the right place. There goes another high ball from the north. Number 3.
Yeah. you know, Art, we've both been here in years where we've seen people like the Hartzels, for example. They go high, they drop down, they come across the target, they don't like their position, so they don't throw, and they climb back up, and they kind of fly that Ferris wheel or that box we talked about. They go up high again, try to adjust their position, come back down again. We've seen them do that sometimes 2, 3, 4 times. I don't think we'll see that this morning. Come down, you better hope you're lined up on it, because there won't be time for a second chance.
No, you have a little bit of adjustment possibility as you come down, but you're right. There's just not the speed back.
Yes, sir. Shit, yes, sir. Be safe. Have a good day, bro. Stay awesome. Stay kick ass. If somebody disagrees, then kick their ass. No, don't do that. I'm just playing. Just tell them to love themselves more. You know what I mean? Anyways. You have a good one, brother.
Come down into the field. He may already be out of it just because the clock is expiring against him. Even though we've got quite a bit of time left, it's just the winds are so slow, you're not going to be able to make a lot of different approaches this morning.
I think you're right, but I think he is trying.
He's coming down.
He is climbing slowly. From here, it looks like he's going up, and he's starting to go.
This game going to mess around and have me do a splash and dash in this lake up here in front of the Lincoln Memorial. Probably just going to miss it, man. Yeah, I post a lot, Hunter. I'm just trying to, you know, and then I have like events like today, just to bring a different community together. You know, it's not really a balloon group out there. We happen to be the first ones, technically. And, you know, we're the first balloon group that's actually having a 50-state tour. We're going to do a 9-day event at Albuquerque, which we're going to be doing a charity event for it. And of course, I have other pilots that do like formations and jets. Like we're going to have like an air show and all that cool stuff. So, you know, that's the goal and plan. The more the merrier.
With better stability and that the red, white, and blue balloon has been caught in. Johnny's just entering that wind shear now. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, look at how much west the red, white, and blue one has got. Johnny's definitely descending faster. You talked about the cylindrical piece, so we'll see if he can get through that. Meanwhile, over on the northeast corner of the field, there is a black vertical with green verticals inboard, and he's still got a little bit of south. He's not going to get near to the target, but right on the ground, you can go to the southeast.
Well, and Johnny now has his yellow balloon. I was going to say, look at Zarek.
Yeah, I was going to say,
he's climbing way back high, like his line of descent. Johnny now is caught in the west.
Yes. And he is now almost east with the boat, east-west, flying basically over the west edge of the field.
I see you landing there, buddy.
But Johnny is picking up. He's got and he has thrown his markers out. And it's in the scoring area.
Wow.
Which is, yeah.
And I think, Art, that's an indication of what we were just saying, is that one shot today. John changed his track, come down and made a better try, but I think he realized he only had one shot, and better to come down and get any kind than to risk getting caught up in the air trying to make some maneuvers and running out of time.
Hey, let's go back to that racer that we watched before, the one with the black checkerboards.
Hey.
There comes a marker from somewhere up there. Was it the yellow one? The yellow.
Stuck in the middle of a city.
Okay. But
Yeah.
go back to that.
You gotta, sometimes you have to shoot up and down to catch winds and shit. Maybe different directions.
Just a moment ago, he is almost directly over the POW-MIA balloon. Probably about.
It says stuck over his UA line.
So. Oh, I've got it. Right now he's stopped, but when I started to talk about him, he had a track back to the north, and it was actually fairly quick. And I thought if he could stay there.
I mean, if you shoot up enough and get your west real quick, I don't know if you're going to do it in time, but you got a baseball field and a football field over here.
Well,
A couple of them. But it does start going back south. But other than that,
you'll see Texas Twist, our G Daddy,
yeah.
Sam Edwards, the late Sam Edwards.
You're going to have to shoot westward a little bit.
Tomas Hora and Mark Sullivan.
So you definitely have to go up west, brother.
In that balloon that is red with the yellow and blue spiral. But it looks like he slowed the descent now. He was coming down at a good rate just a few moments ago. Now he seems to have slowed down, but he's out east right up over Main Street. Meanwhile, you've got a racer dropping into the
I mean, you got a baseball field and like a football field here in this area, but you're still going to have to go west some, regardless. If you go high enough, you go towards the southeast, like the winds start pushing from the northwest. I did a whole zigzag after I hit the monument. Yeah, you got to get higher altitude, buddy. How much fuel do you have left? Even if you can make it if you go high just enough to get that shift over, you got you a spot right here. You got 26 propane, you got about 4% fume burn. Fume burn is that called. So even though you have 0%, you have about 3 to 4% fume burn, which is pretty much the propane residue. And those you have to be careful with. You have to do like those so you don't burn it all at once.
He's not getting east or west as he comes down.
Well, he is in a racer, and that allows him to fall at a descent.
Yeah, if you can make it here, you should be good. That's what we need to do right here, brother. Do a little snapshot there. Yep, I can see you turning. Yep.
And there was a hint to the east, but even that seems to be going away. So, of course, we mentioned the defending champion here, the Balloon Fiesta, has been really concentrating his flying skills on competition.
Yep. You're making it. Just try not to split this area. Make sure you go on one side. I'm messing with you.
Another fence, another bird, back and forth, he's flying up. We can see the special 2021 Balloon Fiesta champion on the side as he comes through. Great shot of him on the feet right now. And there he is. There's the throw. Oh! Oh! That is exactly what we've been talking about. Right to the bow of the boat. If it had stopped, it would have been great. And it bounced and slid on. Oh my God. Heartsick from there. The grove with all the folks out here, the photographers, the officials, etc. Everybody just, the collective groan that went up out here.
Oh, here too. He worked so hard and just had played it perfectly. What great piloting. And just the marker caught him.
Yeah, well, a little far there. You had to put a little distance, a little speed on it. Yeah. And hit it, bounced right up. But like you've said multiple times, high risk, high reward. But other side, you also have the potential of sliding off. And so, that's really, he's like 10 feet from the center of the X. So his score, his distance will be like 310 feet. Yeah. So about as close as you can get and still be with that 300.
But what a great job of piloting. To make the maneuvers he did and to get into that position. Kudos to Zurich. Great piloting.
He did. And so now I'm looking back.
Jet kind of come close there, huh? I think I got that picture.
We'll see if he can get some rest. He's coming down.
That dude came real close to
He's
you.
kind of doing a little distortion, a little tilt there, even in the racer shape. But that'll be the next one, I think, through. Meanwhile, there's still a parking lot.
Yeah, this is why we're only in Washington, D.C. for one day.
Attempt to figure out how to get here.
Well, and we're not quite to 9:30.
Yeah, now if you come down to the ground level, you should line right up and land right up in there. Just don't wait too late. No. You can do this. Do this.
He seems to be trying to heavy, serious competition I expect, but here at Blue Fiesta, I've never seen that here.
Somebody serious about wanting to win this year.
What the hell? Worst case scenario.
Obviously.
It's just light pole. You land that bitch right there.
From above in this racer, that marker is loose. And kerplunk in the water.
Kerplunk. You had to use the word kerplunk.
Is that a technical term?
Oh yeah, you good. Keep on that direction. You know.
Kerplunk. I
see
think
before
the
you
idea
slightly
there
towards
was
it.
is to go for the land mass out here, that big, more safe area that you can throw that marker in. But again, he managed to get pushed to the left. There's his blue marker on the X, and that's not too bad. Looks like it from our
Stay
vantage
low,
point,
stay
just a
low.
little bit out of the legs of the X.
Yeah, you went just a tad forward.
So we do have a regular round balloon that's over on the west side that's been doing some heavy maneuvering. It's got the yellow zigzag going around the center with the dark colors, the red above that, but he just got caught in that west we talked about before. Boom, all of a sudden got caught in that, and he just all of a sudden picked up speed.
Bed Bath & Beyond and Best Buy.
And that red, white, blue balloon that was up there with him.
All right, what else we got?
Shape, just picked it up as well. Not only did it change direction, but
yeah,
it
bro,
changed
you're late.
speed drastically.
You might have to just street land it.
I guess.
That's
It
crazy.
continues to come down, and
It's all right,
should
man.
be getting
This is
back
how
this
we
way.
learn, how
So
we get
we'll
better.
have to watch this round one. Again, it's not a true zigzag, but it's the diagonal pattern.
Let's see.
Barnes or a Firefly. Big windup. There goes the.
Now you're starting to get the cut back inward. Look at that bullshit. Damn. Look at that bullshit.
And another windup.
I mean, they got a little spot right here, but you're gonna have to like squeeze if you can get to this area. And it looks like we're in the ghetto, so be careful.
There goes the windup again. Hits the ground line.
Yeah, you got to like.
And drops between the island and the X.
You might, I mean, you're on point with it. You're just gonna have to drop really fast.
So that black and white and blue checkerboard that we saw, rode that a little bit.
This is probably the smallest field you've landed in a long time, huh?
He's now playing out on that little direction we just saw happen in the round here. And he's starting his descent as well. Looks like there might be some red with that white. There is.
I mean, you're gonna be close.
Yeah.
You're gonna be close, man. You might ruffle some trees.
With the gray skies, the colors are not popping bright. Makes it a little more difficult to identify some of the colors. Cosmic Crisp.
Nope, you're gonna go just to the side of that. You sound like me the other day. I was like, shit, I was like an inch or two off of each everything. Alright, so they also have a little area right here, maybe. They do have a parking lot back here. So I guess this would be your next shots.
And looking at the flags on the berm on the north end, and they have definitely shifted to be blowing towards the southeast.
Yeah, if you stay on if you can stay on this course you're at right now, you should be able to. We're already stopping traffic.
Everything I could find, and I'm not finding a picture of that racer in our spotting app.
Yeah, you can probably drop it right in here.
We have a number of balloon pilots show up with at least new to us balloons at registration. And a lot of times they brought in the paperwork, you know, the airworthiness certificates, registration, annual, all that, but they didn't bring us a picture.
Right. I've been searching for several minutes now for that particular balloon, and I'm just not. Ah, there it is. I did find him. That
I was going to say, try Blue Racer, but you found it.
Well, I should know that balloon, unfortunately. That is Dr. Bill Bussey out of Longview, Texas, and the balloon is called Yin Yang. It's kind of a sky blue, and it has a sort of spiral
This is crazy. Yeah, this is definitely different from what we've been flying the last couple of days. I mean, there's nothing. You got a construction area. If you want to bust a west real quick, you got your baseball stadium right here. You're going to try to land in here. Said, fuck it, huh? Taking out some trees while you go. Don't worry about me, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. No choice, huh? Then screw it. I mean, they got the construction site, man. I mean,
Kind of going almost
I see the wind is starting to pick up,
maybe
so.
even a touch to the west. Where watching Dr. Bussey
What kind of football field y'all got out here?
through the altitude of the yellow one with the parrot. Yep. The marker's out for the parrot balloon. Kind of waving it. There's a little wind up.
Yeah, dude.
He's
I mean,
already south of the
you
boat.
got some,
Yep, it's out.
maybe if you can find another more of a turn. I don't think you have enough fuel for all that, I'm sure. I'm sure you're about just about out.
Not necessarily.
You might have the emergency landing. But they ain't jack exquisitely nothing. Maybe.
Exactly. I was going to say today is clearly shaping up to be one of those days where any score is going to be a good score.
Actually, if you stay in this general direction, you should actually be able to hit this field. This is actually, you're going to be your best bet, brother. If you can make it.
He may be able to drop south of the field, to drop in by the museum or by our glamping folks down on the south side. So there's, and actually the RV and parking lot on the
well, at least you landed.
Field is down there, and there's down there.
I've been there, done that. Been there, done that, bro. Hey, at least you're safe, right? Hey, you're safe, you're good, you're good. Well, yeah, brother, look, man, it's been awesome. You flying with us. We're definitely grateful for you, and man, welcome to the Balloon Tribe. And hopefully we can find more people. This game tripping. Hopefully we'll be able to find more people to come join us in the morning time, which I don't think we're gonna have a problem with it. This is actually unexpectedly kind of started glowing up a little bit, but oh Lord. Good morning, Stretch. But Balloon Hunter, it has been real. I'll be back on in the morning. We're not going to be in Washington, D.C. Where are we going to be at? We were going to be in Baltimore, which is another place of good luck finding places to land. So, so you know. But it's going to be just a fun flight. And you have an awesome night, and I guess I'll see you next flight. And yeah, man, good vibes and good energy, and stay good and stay good at it. Thank you everybody who's attended the competition flight this morning here in Washington, D.C. This is Dubai Man Gaming. It's been a pleasure. It's been a journey, and we'll see you later on this evening when we have our second competition flight of the day, where we shall predicting about 10 to 12 balloons. So, you have an awesome day. Stay kick butt. Stay awesome.